most of the time in independent films, when you see a big name attached to it, they're pretty much a cameo in it. Not for Morgan Freeman. He really showed off on this one. Let's jump into my review of the new film, Paradise Highway. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another movie review. Today we're going to be reviewing the film Paradise Highway, which is available now digitally and on demand. Now, you know, no criticism personally towards Bruce Willis, but Bruce Willis, who, you know, did a remarkable about 20-something plus movies last year. And some of those movies, he was nothing more than a cameo. And yes, I totally understand that his health was deteriorating and thus he retired. But that's sort of been the norm for a lot of big names in terms of being on independent films. You know, they come in to give you to their name is a notable factor in terms of why somebody may want to watch the film. So when you see a big name on it, it's like, oh wow, there is a, you know, blah 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 on it. And you're like, oh, well, I gotta check it out. No matter what the film production is, no matter what their budget may be, but if you see a big name attached to it, it does spark the viewer's interest. So in this case, I saw Morgan Freeman name on it, and I'm like, oh, let me see what's up. But man, I told you, Morgan Freeman, he had other plans because he was in this film a lot. And a matter of fact, not just a lot, but almost the entire film. And he was really, really good. Really good. You know, this is one of those sneaky films like Nicolas Cage did maybe last year as well too, where Nicolas Cage was kind of doing a bunch of this independent films and they were kind of subpar, and then he comes out and I think he did Pig, I think it was, and he really killed it. Well, Morgan Freeman, I think he wanted to remind folks that he is elite, and he really displayed his you know, top tier acting and a performance in this film that I certainly think alone is worth the watch. Now, the other thing I will say about Morgan Freeman is there's no way they wrote the script for him. It's so Morgan Freeman that you can tell that he looked at the script and was like, cool, know what to do, and kind of went in there and did his own thing. But it worked. And I also think that it worked that it still allowed others to shine. It was a lot of Morgan Freeman, but it wasn't just only Morgan Freeman. My guy Frank Grillo is in the film. As always, folks, if Frank is in the film, I'm checking it out. Huge Frank Grillo fan, not even a question for me. But I also think too that there was a younger cast member in Hala Finley who plays Leila, who I thought was really, really good. This young girl, I thought this brought an element to this film that I wasn't expecting, but it did really give me, it kind of gave me feelings like another independent film that I watched recently, just for me to kind of lead to a conclusion that there is a young generation of actors who are really going to be something special because they're already before their time. And I think that Hala is just another example of this young generation who's really going to be something special. Give 10, 15 years. You know, we're going to be talking about them in a big capacity, much like how we talk about Morgan Freeman. You know what I mean? But yeah, in this, I say that Morgan brings this banter of rookie cop versus vet. You know, he's a ex FBI agent who's alongside of this rookie. So now he's like a retired consultant, and then he has his new assistant who went to Yale. So there's this little banter between the two of them, and so that element of buddy cop, this really carries the film. And it's not so much a comedic buddy cop thing that we're accustomed to, but it's more like the Morgan Freeman banter with someone else that just really works. And I think that just is a testament to Morgan Freeman, how he's able to really kind of work with anybody and really elevate them. So, you know, it's an element of this film that makes this very interesting. Now, there's not a lot of Frank Grillo in this film, but he does provide some voice work, which does makes it interesting as well. You know, he has a job where he has a sister that's outside of jail, that he's in jail, he's in danger, and if he doesn't have his sister carry out this mission for him in delivering an asset, which this asset happens to be this little girl, he will be killed. And the siblings, they stick together no matter what. And they have their own backstory as well too. But I think that, you know, that is a huge element in terms of just like the investment for the viewers in terms of like why everything's happening. Is understanding that Frank's character, who, you know, she's just trying to he's trying to save his life, but also the sister's trying to save her brother. So that's a very important thing. So taking a look at this star-studded cast from Morgan Freeman, Frank Grillo, Cameron Monaghan, Juliette Binoche, Hala Finley, it goes on and on and on. But starting with Juliette Binoche, who is our lead, who plays Sally. She is a truck driver who has just been, she at a point reluctantly decides to want to do this job for her brother. Because once she finds out that it's a girl, she's like, oh no, this is much more than I signed up for and whatnot. And with that, you know, you have Sally and Leila, who the girl who's played by Hala, you know, they start to have this very kinetic energy that at a point, you know, it really formulates into a lot of different things here. And that is another element to this film that really is exciting, as there's these two unlikely people now together, now trying to survive and kind of needing each other in ways that they did not know that they would need each other, which really brings a lot of humanity into this film, that makes some of the elements of the film relatable to folks. And I think that's another bit of investment. So you have the investment part in terms of, you know, her protecting her brother that's in jail, the survival of this little girl, but her survival. But I also think another thing too is that it's this identity of women being truck drivers and how that's not just like an anomaly, because they display strong women throughout this entire film, even as truck drivers, something that you didn't think most women did, but this film tells you otherwise, which I do know female truck drivers, so I'm here to say that like the display of this was really dope. And I think by bringing this to the forefront of the film, to kind of normalize this stigma to an extent, it is another part of the film that just makes this really, really enjoyable. Now, I gotta say, going again, Hala Finley, just seeing this girl kind of grow into her own, both the character and the actor throughout this film, was probably had to be my favorite part outside of just Morgan Freeman existing in this film. Because while they're ducking and dodging the police and the FBI who's after them because they're aware of the smuggling, let's just call it what it is. It's human trafficking that's happening. And she doesn't know, you know, that Sally doesn't realize that she actually is a part of this, but that's what it is. So it doesn't just become a state police thing. This now becomes an FBI thing. And they're ducking and dodging because she's trying to make sure that this girl gets to safety, but she also trying to save herself, but she also trying to save her brother. So that's the whole, you know, bit of drama that's all happening here. But like I said, I really, really enjoy seeing Leila kind of grow into her own, the character. And I think that with this rocky start between the two of them, because Sally has her own past trauma, and then understanding that her past trauma and how she can kind of use that to kind of look into this young girl's life and understanding what she may be experiencing, and then decides to take her trauma and then make positive changes to this young lady's life is just a beautiful story in its own, you know what I mean? But seeing the two of them relationship grow over time, protecting one another, and then the journey of self-discovery is also a really, really cool part of this film. Now, I think that, you know, it becomes about them and everyone getting home, and there's a symbolic and yet metaphorical message that's tied into that whole idea of getting home. And because with that, you do start to value the meaning of family in this film, for better or for worse, and with that brings a lot of heart into this film, which again is that connecting factor to the audience to really be invested into the things that are kind of going on here. Now, it does have its twists and turns and surprises, but overall, I think the movie was pretty solid. I think it was pretty solid. I think that the ending really nailed it, and to the point that I just really enjoyed the film, because at the point I started to wonder how this was all going to come to an end, but I thought they nailed the ending, and that really made the story all work. And as I said, I really love how they highlighted female truck drivers, and not just that it is a job that women take and can do and have been doing, but that there is an entire community of them doing that, which is really dope. So overall, look, the film is definitely a must watch for me. I really enjoyed this film. You know, do not think that Morgan Freeman is just on the cover of it, that he's only in it for 5 minutes. He's in it the entire time. You know, and him as an FBI operative, retired, and him having this buddy cop dynamic that kind of goes on in it as well. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of different things that you can enjoy with this film. It's an adventure. You're in the cockpit of an 18-wheeler, which really provides some really cool cinematography. This film, actually, the production, the visuals, I thought was really good. When you kind of like see how beautiful America is in terms of the landscape and whatnot, which I thought they did a really good display of it, as we see the truck kind of driving through day and through night, sunrises and sunsets. I thought that like that alone was just kind of a bit of peace, but yet I thought that was also metaphorical as well, between the dynamics between Sally and Leila. So there's a lot kind of going on in this film, and you will certainly have a good time with it. But hey, check it out, available now. This is Paradise Highway. Jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about it, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.